Warrior mindset and never giving up in life. Why is that so important for us as men? Let's talk about it. I'll give you a scenario of something that happened in my life. See, that says warrior mindset. And then on the other side, it says discipline equals freedom. Okay, here's the deal. Back in 2001, I started my own business in construction. Fell off a roof, screwed up my left side of my body, had partial paralysis for a lot of years, and damaged 9 ribs. Fell off a roof. When I fell off of a roof, damaged 9 ribs, punctured my lungs, my spleen, and tore my stomach away from my diaphragm, dislocated my stomach. And I was so determined to never have surgery, and I didn't have surgery to correct it, because surgeries are not always successful, right? Well, I went through life for a lot of years coughing out blood. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this video today is because in 2001, started my business, and in 2006 or 2007, found myself with IRS tax debt. How did I settle it, and what was the details on it? Here, see, I owed $266,000 in IRS debt in payroll taxes and some other taxes that I couldn't pay because I was sick and I didn't have a lot of success in my business during that period, first 5, 6, 7, 8 years of my business. I was sick, and I only did what I had to do to pay my bills, feed my family. I had 3 little children during this time. I'm going to condense some of the details because it would take too long to explain everything that went down. But what I'm going to help you understand as men, as you go through life, why should you never give up is the point of this video today. And what did I do to settle my $266,000 debt? I settled it for $7,000. How did I do that? By never giving up. I remember sitting across the table from a IRS agent in 2006 or 7, one of the, anyway, in that time frame. But the point is, he looked at me and he said, you need to file bankruptcy and give up. Just liquidate your business. Just give up. You'll never get out of debt. Because I had numerous other debts too that I couldn't pay, because I had racked up debt in a bunch of different areas of my life and business, et cetera, et cetera. And I had an alcohol addiction during that time because I was trying to kill the pain from falling off that roof. So I was killing the pain with alcohol so that I could sleep at night, so that I could go to work again the next day. That's a whole other story that I'll maybe go in more detail on a different video sometime. Anyway, so I looked at this IRS agent, and I didn't tell him this, but I thought it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to file bankruptcy, because I made the debt. When you make a debt to someone, you owe it to pay it back. That's how I was brought up as a child. When you say you're going to do something, then you need to follow through, regardless of what it takes to stand on your word. And I looked at that IRS agent and I gave him the middle finger, and I said, watch me. I'll settle this deal. I'm not going to give up, because I'm not a quitter, right? What I did is, over the next 6 months to a year, I did a lot of research on how I'm going to settle this debt. What am I going to do? Because I was only making about $25,000 a year, and I had all this debt, and I had young children to feed. I was married. I was young married, and I did what you call an offer and compromise with the IRS. The reason I was able to settle this debt for $7,000 was because that was my net worth in 2007. We settled finally, like months later. I think it was like a year later. I went through this whole process, and realistically, you should have had a lawyer to do what I did, but I couldn't afford a lawyer. I couldn't even afford to pay my rent. I was a few months behind on my rent during this time. Back then, I was paying $150 a month in rent for me and my family to live in this little house. And I couldn't even pay my rent because I didn't have enough money to pay my rent. I didn't have enough money for anything. But I was supposed to pay back this $266,000 debt to the IRS that I had accumulated from 2001 to 2007, 2006, somewhere in that area. And so I still have the envelope right here. Offer and compromise originals, it says. And this envelope is full of paperwork because sometimes I look at it and I remind myself of why do I never give up when I get into a bad situation. Well, what I figured out is when your back is up against the wall and you have nothing else but to just move forward and do the impossible, because I needed to hire a lawyer, like I said, to settle this deal with the IRS. You're supposed to have to hire a lawyer to do something that I did myself with me and my bookkeeper and my wife to settle this debt for $7,000. The point I want to make is don't ever give up, because if I would have gave up back then, where would I be today? Because today I have a thriving business, and I went from that deal there to having a thriving business and being physically healthy because I never gave up. I settled that in 2007, that debt for $7,000, because that was my net worth at the time, and I was on probation for 5 years with the IRS. Probation as in I couldn't be late on any tax debt for a period of 5 years. Any kind of tax that I owed, if I was one day late, they were going to reopen up the case and make me pay back the whole $266,000. Well, I had to make sure that I was never late on any kind of tax, and I was able to accomplish that because I stayed focused. I didn't give up until I had accomplished my goal. And I stand here today encouraging anybody that's watching this video, if you ever get into a situation that looks impossible, how you achieve it is in bite-sized pieces, because I just took one day at a time and finally got to the other side of this mess that I had created for myself. And I didn't let the IRS agent tell me what I will or will not do. I showed him that I'm not a quitter. And I encourage you today, if you're watching this, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on anything that looks impossible. Because we as men were created for battles, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual. We were created to win. And I encourage you today, go achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, and don't give up until you get to the end of whatever it is that you want to achieve. Don't give up. I look back today and I look at what I did in that years ago, I was told that it's not possible. I was told to give up, but I didn't. Thank God that I didn't give up, because today I have a thriving business and I'm a millionaire today. And I'm not saying that to be impressive, but I'm saying to impress upon you, don't